If Obama had been married to a white woman, do you think that Obama would have ever been president? Honestly.
Starting a business should not be something that's hard for you, even if you need to scale your business. Do me a favor right now. Shoot me a DM on Instagram with the word coach @TheBusinessBully, and we'll see what we can make happen for you.
So apparently there's trouble in black politics. According to NBC journalist Jonathan Allen, Obama was campaigning behind the scenes to not allow Kamala Harris to ascend to the top of the ticket, saying that he knew, and I'm paraphrasing here, that there was no way that she was going to win against Trump. The thing that people don't understand is if the president dies or is incapacitated, the vice president then becomes the interim president until there's an election. This is not what happened here. On a Sunday, Joe Biden was told after that horrible first debate with Donald Trump, and he said, I beat Medicare. And Trump was like, I don't even think Joe knows what he's saying. I don't even think he's here right now. It's bad. It's awful. It's absolutely abysmal. He doesn't even, what's going on here? I don't know. Who is this guy? After that, it was evidence to everybody that Joe Biden had been incapacitated for quite some time. Kamala Harris also went on the record several times saying, oh no, Joe's great. He's fine. He's running laps around everybody. We are having trouble keeping up with him. Bull hockey. You know good and hell well that man was weekend at Biden's. They were holding him up and propping him up. The truth of the matter is the DNC, or as I like to call them, the diminished neural capacity party, because that's what Joe Biden had, diminished neural capacity. The man's brain wasn't all the way there. The DNC decided that they're just going to put Kamala in there, and because they know people ain't going to ask no questions, it's going to be fine. But normally if a president says, hey, I'm stepping down, you don't just put somebody in there. There has to be a primary. There was no primary where anybody in America voted for Kamala Harris. Hell, when Kamala Harris ran in 2020, y'all didn't vote for her, right? Like Cory Booker did better than Kamala Harris. And the reason that Kamala Harris dropped out in 2020, because so many of y'all said, she should have been the first woman president. Well, where the hell were all of y'all when it was time to cut a check for Kamala in order for her to be there? Where were the Skiwi and Perm delegation of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated? Where are all the black people talking about, oh, we loves Kamala. Kamala's great, this, that, and the third. Yeah, no. Obama knew the truth, and that's Kamala could not win against a Donald Trump because Kamala couldn't point to anything that she did that was significant. She didn't even go to the border when we had a border crisis of 10 million people entering the country illegally. Didn't she tell Lester Holt, we've been to the border? And he said, have you been to the border? Well, I haven't been to Europe either. Wait, what? Like, no, bro. And then she giggles. Like she giggles and cackles. There was no way she was going to win. And Obama was like, listen, why don't we put our efforts behind somebody like Wes Moore? Allegedly, that's what he said. You know, Wes Moore and Governor Whitmer, I think that would make sense. That's what he said, allegedly. And they said, no, we're going to go ahead and run Kamala and it'll be great. They raised $1 billion and they gave it to Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. And the thing of it is, y'all wanted a black woman president so bad that if Obama, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm a betting man here, and y'all let me know in the comments. If Obama had been married to a white woman, do you think that Obama would have ever been president? Honestly, because the same smoke y'all would have had for Obama for being married to a white woman, you had for Byron Donalds or any black male politician that's married to a white woman. But you have nothing to say about the white man who was stooping the babysitter, who was the second gentleman of these United States. You ain't got nothing to say about creepy ass Doug Emhoff, right? Y'all forget that Kamala Harris's last name is really Emhoff. Yeah, y'all don't like that. And I know somebody come, why are you hating on Kamala? She's such a wonderful black woman. What does she do for black people? Outside of symbolism and feel good, what did she do? There was nothing from a policy standpoint that was different. On Sunday, when Biden made the announcement, Monday morning, they had that website turned from joebiden.com to kamalaharris.com, and they had koozies and t-shirts and all types of merch, but did not have a policy until about 40 days before the election. And 90% of that policy was copied and pasted from the Biden policy. You know, the policy that she went on The View and said, I can't think of anything that I would do differently. But eggs were skyrocketing, gas was skyrocketing, the economy wasn't doing any better. And everybody's answer was, well, Donald Trump. Well, Donald Trump ain't been in office in 4 years. So what did you do? Illegal immigrants were getting food, clothing, housing, money, and subsidies, but they couldn't find a way to give black people reparations. You can't even take care of veterans, regardless of color. Anybody who decided to fight in the name of this country in order to better themselves and their family should be taken care of and being prioritized, but you don't want to have that conversation. Now you care about the VA because Doge is cutting into things. Obama knew that it was going to be a dumpster fire if Kamala Harris was at the top of the ticket. And the other part of that is the DNC did not want to lose all of that money that if somebody who wasn't on the Biden-Harris original ticket would have lost because of the fact that you have to spend that money with somebody on that ticket. You can't just automatically transfer that money over. So it was a money grab. We got nothing for it. And we're talking about how bad the orange man is, but you can't point to anything positive that happened in the past 4 years under the Biden-Harris administration. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Let me be fair. How could I forget this? We got Juneteenth. We got a holiday saying we's free now. We know we didn't get? We didn't get that John Lewis Act into law. We didn't get the George Floyd Act into law. But you know what we did get? We got the Stop Asian Hate bill into law. Like that. You want to know why? Because Asians cut the check. All we do is cut the cheese. Obama understood that we need somebody in the Democratic Party who's going to be able to challenge the far right establishment that has been taking place. Y'all so busy worrying about MAGA Republicans. What you need to worry about is traditional Democrats. This is why somebody like a Michael Dukakis lost the presidency, and then Bill Clinton and Al Gore basically became right of center Democrats. Go look at the ads. There is a phenomenal Hillary Clinton documentary on Netflix that shows you the campaign ads if you're too young or you're too far removed or you have some cognitive problems where you can't remember those Bill Clinton and Al Gore ads. But they literally said, this is Bill Clinton and Al Gore. They're not your typical Democrats. They're tough on crime. They're going to lock people up. And then what happened in 94? What was that thing that happened in 94? The crime bill. You know, the crime bill that is still taking us out today. 1 out of every 3 black men is going to be locked up, and 1 out of every 4 black women is going to be locked up in our lifetime because they make money off of cheap slave labor. But you don't want to have that conversation because God forbid you hold Democrats accountable to everything, because you don't. And then you hold Republicans accountable to anything they do that you've been told not to like, as opposed to going on both sides of the aisle, getting representation and saying, you know what? Here's what we need. Our communities are in shambles. We need endowments. We need to make sure that we have police that live in our neighborhoods. So that cuts out a lot of the police brutality, because if I know where you live, you ain't going to be so itchy on the trigger finger. Like, there are simple solutions to very complex problems that none of us ever get to because we're worried about the wrong thing. So yeah, I'm not surprised that good old Barry Obama said that Kamala didn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning, because didn't she get landslided? Did she win the popular vote? I thought she was going to win the popular vote. Like, I've done podcasts where I've talked about how I thought Kamala Harris was going to win the popular vote, and she didn't. She didn't win the Electoral College. The entire map ran red with the blood of Democrats. You want to know why? Because Democrats didn't offer up anything tangible. Symbolism ain't going to cut it no more. We have to start going to politicians for what they are.